So, technical difficulties continue to plague me. I had scheduled a live stream and there were people waiting in there, and I'm trying to start it. And I'm looking at a chat from Hannah who's doing a wellness check because it hasn't started. And anyway, I just told her I need her to send people here if she can, because I couldn't start the originally scheduled stream. There was something about the device orientation. I don't know. I kept trying to change the orientation. It wasn't working. So I've started a new one, and hopefully our bingo players can find me over here. So don't worry, it's still ginger tea. I just really like this mug. It's cute. I like the color. But anyway, okay, so this is day 13 of BonnaH Co Bingo. Again, I'm sorry that it was an issue with the people that were looking for me in another stream that was scheduled. But anyway, let's see what we've got as far as what I pulled today. And I hope Hannah doesn't try to reach me, because I'm about to close that window and look for my notes. So get that ready. So I'm going to see, okay, so someone is here. Hello. How are you? Hi, Mary. Oh my God, I was just saying the tech issues continue to plague me. It works fine some days, and then other days, I don't know. Hey, Hannah. Always something. I don't know what happened. It said something about my device orientation. I could have sworn I set everything up to be landscape, but whatever. So weird. We'll figure it out. Hey, Sherry. Thanks for coming. Okay. So I know what Hannah doesn't want again, because like I said, we've chatted about this. There are certain stitches she's dreading to do. So let's see. I wonder if you should not schedule them, just start them. Yeah, maybe. It's nice to be able to give them a... Oh, Hannah, look. Shisha stitch. Shisha stitch. All right. So, Shisha stitch. We had to include Shisha stitch because it's such an interesting stitch. It's a cool... Hannah says, oh, thank the Lord. It's a really cool stitch, especially because we included googly eyes this year. So let me get the iPad turned around. Okay, you guys all set up. And we'll take a look at where the Shisha stitch is. I've been waiting for Shisha stitch this whole time. I'm like, when are we getting Shisha stitch? So fun. But again, isn't it funny how the ones that I think are so fun, Hannah's like dreading and said, please don't get it, don't get it, don't get it. But yeah, so Shisha stitch for us. Let me also just double check my notes too, in case there's something I need to tell you guys. Okay, let's see. Alrighty, so Shisha stitch for us. Oh, boo! It's not on the board for us. That's no fun. Well, okay. It's still fun because we still get to show you. But it'd be more fun to do it on an actual birdie. But it's okay. Some of you may have it off the board too, and it doesn't matter. You can practice it anywhere. And you can also combine stitches on, you know, in the same box, because we have many players this year who are doing that, and it's looking super fun. So don't feel like you have to do that one single stitch that goes to that box. You can do a whole bunch of other things too. So Shisha stitch for me was here in this little birdie. Hi, Aubrey. So I just pulled Shisha stitch. And Hannah is jumping for joy because she's thrilled she doesn't have to demo Shisha stitch. Wasn't one of her favorites from this year. However, it was one of mine, so it all works out. So on mine, I did it 3 different ways. But with the same exact technique. So one thing you want to know about the Shisha stitch, it is a stitch that originated from India. So they do it a lot in the Indian style embroidery, and they use it to attach little like mirrored pieces. Um, so it's really quite beautiful, but there are many, many different ways to do the Shisha stitch. So if you look up tutorials on it, then it's very likely it's going to be a little bit different than what we show you here. This is the one that worked out well for me. Hannah found another one. I'll explain the one that Hannah did too. But you can do whichever way you want. It's basically to attach like a disc, or I think they can also use it to do other shapes as well. But anyway, I did it to attach the googly eye, so it kind of holds the googly eye on. And then I tried it with a sequin. So we don't have mirror pieces, but if you have some of the larger sequins, you could do that. It may get a little fiddly on the smaller ones. So if you do have the smaller eyes, just give yourself some grace. It's going to be very challenging, I think, with the smaller one, but not impossible. So you try it out and see what you think. I also did it for those of you that are not playing with any kind of googly eyes or any sequins. You can just do it as a sort of a round raised stitch. I think it's hard to see the middle, but I turned it into a little musical note. So the Shisha stitch is that center part here. Okay. And then Hannah did it on her owl. Super cute owl. It looks like he's wearing glasses. Or he or she. But she did it twice next to each other to attach her googly eyes. I imagine it must have gotten a little bit tricky right in here. But she powered through and she did a beautiful job. So, hi Arlene. Reminds you of a minion. Yeah, definitely. Aubrey said she's got hers in 18, so she's also off the board. Yes, Hannah, so how did you manage it between, you just kind of go carefully and whatever catches and you work around it? Okay, 19 is off the board for Sherry as well. So many of you off the board, just like me and Hannah. Or Hannah and me. Me, Hannah and me. The grammar police are gonna get me. Okay, anyway, let's talk about how you make the Shisha stitch. So Hannah says wait, what? Just shoved carefully and hoped for the best, the benefit of being an ish stitcher. Yes, for sure. All right, so a couple of things you want to know about the Shisha stitch. You're going to want to use a non-divisible thread if you've got it. So a pearl cotton will be great. You can also use a single strand of floss if you don't have pearl cotton. And then if you have the threads from us, these would also work. The filane is a non-divisible thread, as well as our blendables. So those would all work. And let's see, what else are you gonna want to do? So the way it works, I'm gonna draw it out first. All right, so brace yourselves, friends. This is gonna be a long demo. Shisha stitch takes a while. There are a lot of different steps, so bear with me. So let's say we have our mirror piece or our googly eye or whatever, okay? And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna make a grid of stitches. So it's like a hashtag, or I'll date myself now again, but a number sign, right? So you would make a grid like this, the two parallel verticals, and then you would go across at the 90-degree angle and you'd make one like this. You try to keep this little box in the center of your piece, whatever it is you're trying to hold down. So whether it be a mirror, a googly eye, a sequin, or nothing at all, doesn't really matter, right? Then what you're gonna do is, let me see if I have another color here handy. I do not. I don't, So let me see, maybe I can, oh, maybe I can use a pencil. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna make another grid. You're gonna basically do this, but you're gonna rotate it 45 degrees. So you're gonna go in and you're gonna make another one like this, right? And then you're gonna go across and do that. So you're gonna create a grid of stitches. These are gonna be your foundation stitches. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna come up and you're gonna go in and wrap around the grid, and whatever threads from the grid you catch in that section is what you're going to wrap around, and it'll make more sense when I show you in a minute. Now I think the one that Hannah watched, the video that she had watched that she found helpful, because she said she felt like she was having a difficult time getting, where did hers go now? Getting her the circle to be round. She wasn't totally satisfied with how the shape was at the bottom. So the video she watched, I believe there was like a stem stitch that was stitched around it, around the outside, like around here, before she went in and did her weaving. So again, if the demo I show you today does not click for you, then I encourage you to go and look and see if there's some other ways that you feel work better for you, okay? So let me set up, I'm not gonna demo on the white because ours is not on the board, and so I'll pick a spot that's not too busy, and hopefully you'll be able to see it fine. Oh, that's Hannah's. Where's ours? It's starting to get confusing which bingo board is our demo board because it's starting to get filled up. Are you finding that too, Hannah, or is it just me? All right, so if you happen to have it in any of the birds and you want to do an eye, you can certainly attach an eye. If you have a bigger one, it'll be a little bit easier. If you have it in a small one, like these little guys down in here, then you might want to practice off on the side first. Or just practice in the box. It doesn't really matter if it turns out right or not. Hannah said, yes, I had to separate them last. Oh, yes, that you were having trouble too. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do it. Let's just do it in, maybe I'll do it in this little section of the R, and I will attach a googly eye. Where's my googly eyes? All right, let's get the hoop. I'll get in the hoop, and I'll get my googly eye. Now, if you have googly eyes that are, do I want to go there? I'm going to be close to the edge. Maybe I'll go in the B instead. If you have the googly eyes that have stickers, like a adhesive backing, and it has the paper backing on there, and you struggle with removing it, I can show you a quick tip that I found. I can't remember where I saw it. That's a game changer for removing the paper. If you have googly eyes that do not have the stickers at all, it's helpful if it can stick on your fabric while you're working, just so it's not moving around as much, especially like while you're trying to set up the grid. Once the grid is on there, it should be okay. But if it's not, it can make it tricky. So many of the ones that we sent out to you guys, if you got the bundle, the thread bundle with the extra stuff, have a sticky back already, but some of them we did run out, so we ended up using the other ones that we have in our stash. This one is not adhesive. So, but if you had an adhesive one, so let me find one that does. I just want to show you guys the trick. So you just take a needle. So this one has a paper back, and you push the needle in at an angle, and then it just lifts the paper right off. And I found that really helpful. Ever since I learned that, I was like, oh, this is way easier. But if you do not, and you need to stick it down, what you can do in the meantime is get a glue stick and so I don't know why, let me see if this glue stick sticks well to this eye. I noticed when I was testing it, the glue stick glue didn't really want to come off onto this backing. It was super smooth and shiny. So what I found is if I just put the dab of the glue on the fabric first and then stuck the eye to it, it seemed to hold better for some reason. Okay, and so I'm gonna just kind of stick that on there, and from the back side I can kind of scratch on it and smooth it onto the back of the eye. Okay, so that'll kind of hold it temporarily till you get your stitches on there. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'm gonna get some black pearl cotton. Let's find, is there a piece of or strand of black in here in our little jumble of partially used? Okay. So I'm going to start with a black grid. Oh, that was the milliner's needle I pulled. It felt different. It's a little long. I don't really need it that long. Okay, so use whichever needle feels best for you. How's everyone doing on this Wednesday? Halfway through the week and more than halfway through embroidery bingo. Kind of sad about that. Oh, I think I also want to manage some of all this extra fabric. Do you guys do this? Do you kind of roll up your extra? Okay. Alrighty, where was I? Okay, so I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna make a grid. It doesn't really matter where you start. Oh, nice, good. Hannah's got a little free time today. She had somebody reschedule, so that's good. All right, so I'm gonna come up here. I'm gonna start with my left side. Oh, good, I'm glad you found that tip helpful, Mary. So you're gonna come right up and over, and you're not gonna pull super tight, okay? And because if you pull too tight, it might slide around. You wanna keep it kind of straight. So if you notice, if you want to use the grid, if the grid happens to be in the right spot for you, you can kind of use the grid to help you. I see a little tiny dot up here. I just went to the right of the dot. So down here, I'm going to go a little to the right of the dot. I'm going to pull to make my first vertical, and then I'll jump over to the other side. And you are trying to get like that square center to whatever it is you're tacking down. Okay, so again, I'll go up and straight back down. And then I'm gonna make the horizontal ones. So up, and then go over and across. And I'm going just to the outside of the eye, the googly eye. This one, I think maybe, should I have come a little lower? Looks like it's kind of a little too high. See if I can. Let's try that one again. So if you have to take them out, just unthread your needle, take that thread back out. So yeah, not really, it's gonna be a bit more challenging for ish stitchers, I think. But practice, 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 and then it just gets easier. Let's go a little lower here. I guess it's good that we got a tricky one on a day that there's a little more time to demo. Because if we got it tomorrow, and we would be a little bit more rushed tomorrow, even though you'll have both of us, which is always fun. But tomorrow we have our after school class. We get to see our kiddos tomorrow, so that'll be super fun. Sometimes it makes us feel a little bit more, I don't know, rushed, or just doesn't, it just, there's just more stuff going on those days. On those busier days, it's harder. But today I have more time, so it worked out well that I got Shisha stitch today. Oh, speaking of, put that in camera view. All right, so I start with this grid, and then just for the ease of showing of the demonstration, I'm gonna go ahead and knot this off. You do not have to do this. You can create your grid with all the same thread color. You do not have to switch. Again, repeat, you do not have to tie this off like I am. I'm only gonna tie off and switch to another color so you can see more easily where the grid, like how the grid is set up, okay? So I'll tie that off. And then I'm gonna go to let's try the pink color. Oh, yeah, actually, maybe I'll do the teal. Okay, so oh, so super skein. I have to just unwind this skein. We got a little bit knotted here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's get this one threaded. And again, if your thread ends are a little frayed, then just give it a little snip. Oop. And then it should be a little bit easier to thread. Okay, now, so I've got one, oops, it is trickier because our eyes are round and not as flat as a mirror. So the other tip I would say is if it's your very first time doing a Shisha stitch, you may also want to, if you've got a sequin, or if you want to even just make a little like cardboard disc or something that you cut out and have something a little bit flatter, that will also help. So this is a bit more advanced. So those are some tips for beginners, is if you're struggling with doing it on the googly eye itself, then maybe start trying it on something flat first. And once you feel you have the hang of it, you can move up to using the actual googly eyes, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna make another grid, and this one's gonna go in this, I'll rotate my hoop. I'll go in this direction, like this. A button works great. Great idea. Yes, Sherry is using a button on hers. Thank you for that suggestion, Sherry. That's a great idea. Okay, and then I'll make the other vertical. And honestly, it doesn't matter, you're going inside, outside. It's just setting up the grid. And, you know, you're going to catch whichever part of the grid you happen to be by, so it's okay. Yeah, this is a new one for you, Sherry, you said? Yeah, I don't remember where, actually, I think it was in a book that we've got. We saw it there, and then I don't remember where I must have seen somewhere else too, and I was like, oh, that would be great to attach googly eyes. Yeah, it's a fun one, and attach whatever that, you know, you can use it for so many different things. So I got one more on the grid of this one. So can you imagine on the beautiful, like the saris and everything that the Indian women wear, they're mirrored all over. How long it must take to create that. Right, so look, here's our grid, okay? And then I'll tie this off because I want to show you the weaving part in yet another color. But again, if you were doing this, you know, on your own and you don't want to switch colors, you do not have to at all. It's helpful to have a good long strand, like a fresh 18-inch strand to start. So just to see if you can make it all the way around. Not that you cannot stop in the middle and rethread if you had to. Okay, let's see what I want to use. I guess I will use the pink then, so you can see it. Do I have any more green? We don't have a lot of green, so let's see. Let's use the pink. Gotta remember to check the chat. Okay. This is another tightly wound one. Ay, ay, ay. I'm just going to take it apart. Okay. If you have a slightly more blunt needle, it would be probably helpful to do that too. You don't have to. I'm just going to switch to the Bohine chenille needle. You don't have to. And I think so. The way that Hannah had seen it, that she liked to create a more circular border to help keep it more circular, is she then did a stem stitch around it. Chevy, I have a small bag of patchwork, hold on, a patchwork of recycled saris with tiny mirrors sewn on. Like, yes, right? Isn't it incredible? Like when you see how much time it takes to do something like this, you really do appreciate the handiwork of these items that we have. Okay, so anyway, so as I was saying, I think Hannah liked the method where you would do a stem stitch around here and create another border. And then was it, I forget, Hannah, did you go around and just catch the stem stitch as you go down each time? I'm not sure, but this is the way that I liked and the way I'll teach it. So that's the other thing, is depending on who you get, you may get different ways of learning, but it's all good. So, all right, Hannah says yes, you do the same thing except you add the stem stitch. All right, so the weaving is attached to the stem stitch. All right, cool. So I'm gonna show you the weaving part next. It doesn't matter where I start. I'm gonna happen to go in between one of these black foundation stitches, the grid stitches, okay? And I'm just coming up right against, like right outside of the eye. Okay, so Hannah says that she feels it's a bit more secure, but does take a little bit longer because you have to make that extra stitch. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up in between along that edge there, and I'm going to just go on top. So I'm going to kind of rest my needle along the eye, and I'm going to come through and try to catch whatever parts of the grid are in that section. Okay? So you're not, it doesn't matter which one, it's just whatever happens to be in that little area. Those are the ones you're going to slide your needle underneath. And I'm going to have my working thread go under the needle and then pull. And this time when you pull, you don't want to pull super, super tight that you like stretch out your grid too far. Okay, so I'm going to pull and then I'm going to come down. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can see it clearly. I'm going to come down, so what it does is it makes this sort of goes up and down. So this section here is where it catches all of the grid lines. This is where it comes out of the edge along the eyeball. Okay, so it goes up and then it tucks underneath and then it goes over the working thread and back down. So it makes this sort of little loopy thing. Okay, and then what you do with the next one is you're gonna start in between those little legs of this loop, and it continues to go around like this all the way around. So these loops all pull and catch onto the grid. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and push this down. Okay, and when you pull it, you're just pulling the grid just off center a little bit. All right. Then I'm going to come up in between those little legs there. Let's make sure the lighting is good. Hopefully, let me know if you need me to turn on an extra light. So I'm not sure if you can see it okay. So now I'm coming up again. This is in between the leg of the first stitch I made. And then I like to keep the working thread kind of down and out of the way as I'm looking to catch, again, whatever threads I can get. Okay, just whichever threads you pull of the grid, you catch of the grid, and then pull. And then come back down. Okay. Can you see that okay? So I'm obviously going to be here a little while. Let me know if you need any kind of clarification. Otherwise, you can just kind of watch me as I go through and create more and more of these. So I find as long as I'm coming up pretty much right along that edge of the circle, the eye itself, it doesn't, it seems for me to keep it fairly round, the outside. And if you did do your foundation stitches in a different color and you feel like there's stitches that are missing, like you can see them coming through, you can always go back in and add extra ones. So like, for example, right here in between these two, it feels like I can see a little bit of the grid showing through, but maybe later when I come back around, I'll be able to fill it in and just nudge them over. But if you do have a gap and you want to fill it in, you can always go in and just add an extra one. So yeah, this is one you got to really be very mindful of your tension. And do give yourself some grace. It is a challenging one, so don't worry if it doesn't click right away. And if this method doesn't click, please go and search for some other videos too, because it's impossible for us to show you every single way. But yeah, it's pretty cool once you get the hang of it. Okay, so you can see how the grid starts to pull along the outside. And again, I'm not worried at all which of those grid stitches I'm catching, as long as I'm catching at least one or two, then I should be okay. And if you were to run out of thread, you would just complete whichever your last stitch was, tie it off in the back, thread and knot a new strand, and then just come up again between the leg of that last one. As far as them feeling secure, I do think as long as you haven't pulled the grid, stretched it out too much, the eyes should stay pretty well, especially because the eyes are domed, so they are a little bit wider on the bottom. So what do you guys think of this stitch? Yay or nay? I think it's pretty cool. But I do admit it's a tricky one. I was teaching my students. I teach art at a boys' school, and I showed them a watercolor thing. And at first, when they saw it, they're like, "Oh no, that's too hard. That's too hard." And I said, "Well, let's give it a try." And then I broke it down and I showed them, and he's like, "Oh, it's not that hard." And I think, yeah, once you learn the different steps, it's just a matter of practice and trying it. I don't think it's on my board, but I'm going to try it anyway. I'm intrigued. Yes, please try. Please try. Give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen, right? You find out you're never going to do this stitch ever again. That's the worst that could happen. You hate it, you frog it, whatever, right? But give it a shot if you want. I mean, if it's not on your board and you really don't want to try it, then obviously it's not a big deal, but we do encourage you to try everything, at least once. Yeah, and Hannah also said she probably won't use this stitch very often, although she does think it looks cool. Good thing you're not making saris then. Yeah, so if I was not doing this as a demo, I would have probably just set everything up using all the same color. To make sure I don't see those other bits showing through, but it's more important that you can see it clearly, so I'm gonna live with it. Okay. What else was I gonna share with you guys today? Well, today, after this, got a bunch of cooking stuff to get ready. Yesterday was Chinese New Year, and you know, it's also referred to as Lunar New Year, but then I saw this thing that my cousin posted about why it's actually really the Chinese New Year and not a regular Lunar New Year, because it goes by a different calendar that the Chinese use to determine the date. And so they call it the Lunar New Year, but it's apparently based on the Chinese prediction of it. I don't know, that they involve more than just the regular lunar calendar. They use the solar calendar as well. I don't know. It's confusing to me, complicated, but I've always known it as Chinese New Year because, well, I'm Chinese. But anyway, so I have a bunch of Chinese New Year stuff to do because yesterday I did not have a chance to do our traditional dinner. So I've postponed it till today when I have a bit more time. So I got a ton of cooking to do today. And there's a lot of symbolism in the food. A lot of it is based on what the word sounds like. So there's always usually chicken and a fish, and they're supposed to be the whole chicken, like head and feet and everything all attached. Whole fish, like a whole steamed fish, because of you know, keeping everything intact. So there's a lot of symbolism. There's like dumplings that are supposed to sort of signify gold nuggets. It's pretty cool. We didn't celebrate it this year, but we usually just celebrate with dumpling soup. I feel like Koreans don't do as much, but that might just be, yes, possibly. I mean, each family has different traditions, so yeah. There's usually like a pre-Chinese New Year dinner, a post-Chinese New Year dinner, a special breakfast, like your first meal of the day is supposed to be vegetarian. So there's that. So yesterday our first meal was vegetarian, like a Buddha mix kind of thing. And then you're supposed to have something sweet. And again, these are the traditions I grew up with. Other families might have totally different ones. Yes, we do give red envelopes. And that's the part where I was saying, as a kid, it's way more fun to celebrate New Year because children are the ones who receive all of those red envelopes filled with lucky money. And the tradition is that as long as you are not married, you are collecting red envelopes. And then as soon as you get married, you have to start giving out the red envelopes. So it gets a little expensive once you grow up and get married. And then my husband's side of the family, just this year, we welcomed 4 new babies. So there was a lot of nieces and nephews who have all grown their families, and they're all older and married now, and having kids of their own. So now there's like lots of red envelopes to give out. And technically, as long as you're not married, you should be able to receive them. I'm almost all the way around. Yeah, there's a dish with oysters, and that, again, oysters, because of what it sounds like, is supposed to translate to like having good things happen to you, I guess. Fish is like abundance. There's all these other things too. They say don't wash your hair on New Year's Day because you'll wash away your luck. That one used to really get me when I was a teen, and my mom would be like, don't wash your hair today. And I'd be like, Mom, I gotta go to school. Yeah. She's like, oh, you're gonna wash away all your luck. Things about don't take out the trash. I mean, some of the superstitions seem a little weird to me. Why does this first one seem so separated? What did I do wrong there? Okay, so I've almost come all the way around, and I noticed that there's a gigantic gap right in here. So I'm just going to fill in wherever I feel it looks sparse. If something bad happens, can you blame it on not washing your hair? I don't know. Maybe. And thank you, Shabby. Yes, Shabby said Kung Hei Fat Choi, which is how we say Happy New Year. We also say San Tai Kin Hong, which is wishing you good health. Hannah said she means not on washing it. Yeah. So if something bad happens, it could have just been because you washed your hair, you washed away your good luck. So yeah, I've kind of come all the way around now. I do see some spots where you can see the grid through there, and it's not going to fall off. I mean, it's on there. It's holding on to the eye. But you can certainly go in and add extras if you want. And fill anything in. So like I see a gap right there. So I'm going to come up and wrap around it. I'm going to try to catch those grid stitches. Yeah. Okay, so wherever you feel you want to fill in, I mean, I actually don't mind. It's kind of cute with some of the teal peeking through. In Korean, it's, I don't know how to say that. Hold on, let me try again. Say hey bok man. Oh, I'm really butchering it. Oh wait, you have your phonetic. Hold on. Say hey bok ma mani padi say oh. Did I do that right? I'm sorry. I apologize to all the Koreans in advance. That was horrible. Maybe Hannah will say it tomorrow when we go live. And all, by the way, my pronunciation of Gung He Fat Choi is Cantonese, not Mandarin, so I speak Cantonese. Oh, I was very close, Hannah said. All right, good. I probably have like the accent's in the wrong spot, but anyway. All right, so there's how you can do a googly eye, and you can attach your sequins the same way, buttons the same way that Sherry had suggested, which was a great suggestion, and you can also do it with nothing, which is, like I said, what I did on the music note on this one. You don't even have to attach anything. So feel free to experiment with it, the Shisha stitch. Let me just tie this off in the back. Does anyone have any questions about it? We hope you give it a try. We know it's a tricky one, it's challenging. I think this one is probably the very hardest one of all the stitches in this year's list. So don't feel bad if you don't get it right away, or if you decide you hate it and you never ever want to do the Shisha stitch again. But yeah, we try to give you guys a mix of things to try, and we try to introduce you to new things. So hopefully we succeeded in doing that. Yeah, oh, this wasn't as long as I thought. We've had longer ones even. Does anyone have any questions though? Do you need me to show anything else, or is it pretty clear and just a matter of you need to practice or try it? Let me know. I do think, I wish there was a way to keep this chat open without me having to be logged in on another device too. I'm going to double check if there's anything else in the notes that I might have missed. So I already mentioned about the non-divisible thread, stitch, create, raise, circle. Yeah, I think I hit everything. So thank you. Thanks for joining me, and hope you all have a great rest of your day. Tomorrow, Hannah and I are going to be together, and we'll be live at 1 o'clock, and we'll see what we pull tomorrow. But yeah, take care and have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.